Hello, and welcome to TMN Television on Thursday, September 21st. I'm Spencer Faust.
And I'm Gail Holzer. Tonight we look at recent changes to Title IX on college campuses.
Later, stay tuned for a look at a run for suicide awareness in the community.
Also, be sure to watch our Truman Sports Update.
These stories and more tonight on TMN Television. You don't want to miss this. Changes could be made to the Title IX law on sexual assault on college campuses. United States Secretary of Education Betsy DeVos is beginning to develop updates to the Title IX law. The changes include adjusting the evidence procedure from a preponderance of evidence standard to a clear and convincing standard. Preponderance of evidence makes the accused automatically guilty if more than 50% of the evidence points to their guilt. The clear and convincing standard would be more lenient in that the evidence against the accused must only be probable and convincing. DeVos also argues that the accused are not receiving due process or fair treatment during college Title IX proceedings. If the changes are made, Title IX sexual assault procedure could be altered on Truman's campus. Title IX coordinator Jamie Ball says evidence will be handled differently than in the past. Ball says due process rights at Truman have always been protected for both the accused and the victims. Ball says the university will continue to be more morally conscious during issues of sexual assault.
Regardless of how the law kind of shakes out, I don't think our moral responsibility is going to change. And that as a community, we have a responsibility to take care of each other and to have some high standards for what we think is okay here.
Faculty members received an email August 16th saying that it had been recommended by Provost Janet Gooch to the Missouri Department of Higher Education that the university should no longer offer bachelor degrees for the Russian and art history majors. The university would still offer courses, but the majors would no longer be available to future students. The master's biology program will also be put on inactive status. Gooch said the MDHE asks the university for recommendations every few years on programs with low enrollment. She worked with the deans of each school to make proper recommendations. The recommendations are then supposed to be discussed in the faculty senate before going to the MDHE. However, this did not happen. Several faculty voiced frustration at the faculty senate meeting August 24th. Gooch says she feels the process went as it should have and that they need to hear from the state on the recommendations. Students currently enrolled in the programs will be able to finish.
The Missouri Department of Education is working to create a common set of courses among public colleges and universities to comply with Missouri Senate Bill 997. The law was created to simplify the transfer process from two-year institutions to four-year ones. It instructs the MDHE to create a 42-credit-hour block of classes to be taught in all institutions. Director of Interdisciplinary Studies, Bridget Thomas, said this isn't a new idea. State universities have already been collaborating to ensure students can transfer their credits and save money and time.
Truman's annual Family Day tradition continued last Saturday with many family-friendly activities and events. Family Day, usually held for 4 to 6 weeks after classes begin, is always a great way for parents to check up on their students. Family Day featured large events including the Red Barn Arts and Crafts Festival and Truman football team's first home game of the season. Over 550 tickets were sold for the family cookout, and thousands of people attended the Red Barn Festival. All of the events kicked off with great weather, except for the Bulldogs football game, which had to be delayed until 10 o'clock that night.
Next, stay tuned for a look at Truman sports teams.
But before that, let's look at this week's forecast.
Recently, our country has witnessed catastrophic devastation. Hurricanes and flooding have upended lives and livelihoods.
Across this great country, Americans have answered the call.
That special calling that compels us, when others are down, to step up and do whatever it takes.
America's at our best when, against all odds, we come together and lift each other up.
Please donate to oneamericaappeal.org. America needs you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The football team had their home opener last Saturday against Missouri University of Science and Technology. The game started almost 3 hours late because of lightning delays. Play extended into early morning hours when the Bulldogs lost 11-27. Head coach Gregg Nesbitt says it was obviously a late night, but both teams had to deal with the same situation. Nesbitt says his players stayed hydrated and were able to stay nourished after his wife made a grocery store run. While the long delay wasn't anything new for him, he says the lights going out in the middle of the play was. He says the team still needs to improve on offense and defense, but was impressed by the improvements in kicking, punting, and returning. He says junior punter Brock Roller and junior kick returner Malik Robbins had standout games.
It was impressive. I mean, I didn't know how many, if any, would stick around. I think a lot of them just hung under the stadium for 3 hours, but we still had a good-sized following and crowd. We certainly wish we'd have performed better and played a better brand of football, but certainly appreciate those of us that did decide to make an event and extend the evening, et cetera, and a lot of them were there at the very finish at 1 or 1:30 in the morning.
The game didn't end until 1:30 Saturday morning. Athletics Information Director Kevin White says the last time a game was delayed for the Bulldogs was in 2009 in their home opener against Missouri S&T. The last year the turf was resurfaced. White says the game had to follow GLVC policy, so the game was delayed another 30 minutes every time lightning struck within 8 miles of the stadium. He says postponing was not an option because Division II football does not have a bye week and the outcome of conference games determine the conference title. He says the 10-minute power outage in the middle of a drive in the third quarter can be explained by the timer for the lights running out.
The women's golf team came out breaking records to open its fall season at the Ferris State University Bulldog Fall Preview in Big Rapids, Michigan. The women finished 5th out of 11 participating teams with a 2-day score of 630, but their first day score of 308 is a team round record. Junior Peyton Stanford says she did not even realize they broke a record until head coach Clint Fitzpatrick looked at previous scores in their history. Junior Brooke Kelly, senior Stephanie Hewlett, and sophomore Lindsay Repp all shot personal 2-day lows, while senior Nicole Barbettler shot a personal 18-hole low.
After going 4 weeks without a win, the women's soccer team won their first 2 games this past weekend. The women defeated William Jewell College 1-0 and Rockhurst University 4-0. Head coach Mike Cannon says the team showed toughness and determination in its previous games, but it finally paid off in its last 2 games. Senior midfielder Allison Lockett led the Bulldogs with 2 goals and 1 assist in the victory against Rockhurst, giving her 11 goals in her career. Lockett earned GLVC Women's Soccer Player of the Week for her performance. The women's next game is this Friday against Drury University.
This has been your Truman Sports Update.
Stay tuned after the break for a look at recent 5K run for suicide awareness. We'll be right back.
I'm gonna see if that makes marks on the floor. I'm gonna stop that. Ow.
Sometimes there's a man, he's the man for his time and place. He fits right in there.
students in the Kirksville community came together Saturday morning for a suicide awareness 5K. Here's TMN's Bria Parnell with the story.
Truman students and the citizens of Kirksville gathered on Saturday for a suicide awareness 5K hosted by the Kirksville Hospice. The 5K was created by a bereavement group of parents that had lost loved ones to suicide, as well as university counseling services. The group was started at the Hospice Center and has since been active members of the community as advocates for suicide awareness. Parent and member of the community, Sarah Sweet, says the group has been very supportive since the death of her son this year. Sweet says suicide victims tend to isolate themselves, and being aware of the issue can really show them support.
People that are thinking about suicide, they push you away, and just to keep trying to help them even though they push you away. I think that's people are going to want to stay back from them, but they need more help than anybody.
Over 100 participants registered ahead of time for the 5K, and around 50 more showed up to run. All of the proceeds from the run went to the Kirksville Hospice. Director of Hospice for Northeast Missouri, Carla Husted, says the support group wanted to give back to the hospice as well as show support for the community and suicide victims. Husted says suicide is something people don't want to talk about, and simple 5Ks or other events really bring awareness to the situation to let people know where they can get help.
I think it's a hard topic for people to talk about. Sometimes it seems like part of the reason that suicide has grown in the tremendous numbers and ways that it has is because we don't talk about it enough. Grief is uncomfortable, so it's hard to keep reaching out to people once that initial shock of their loss is over. I don't want to say it's taboo, but something along that lines. It's a hard topic.
The 5K was in conjunction with the Be the Light program that strives to bring awareness to mental health issues. Before the 5K, the university held a Question, Persuade, Refer suicide training program. The university continues to help develop an understanding of mental health. For the Truman Media Network, I'm Bria Parnell.
Thank you for tuning in with us tonight. For complete news coverage, be sure to stay tuned to KTRM and pick up a copy of the Index. Also, check out our news content on tmn.truman.edu. Also, be sure to check out our variety show segments. You can also follow TMN on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram for breaking news updates. And if you missed part of our broadcast tonight, check out TMN TV on YouTube.
Also, if you've ever thought about being on TV, be sure to head over to tmn.truman.edu/apply to fill out an application today. And if you enjoy photography, be sure to enter Detour's photo contest by October 8th. You may have the opportunity to be featured in their magazine. Submissions can be emailed to editor@detours.com. From all of us at TMN, thank you for tuning in and have a great rest of your week.